Huge disclaimer before we get into the video, this isn't me hating on My Hero Academia. I actually really like the show and I think it's very enjoyable. It has amazing moments such as the Chiseki arc, which is up there with one of my favorite arcs I've ever watched in anime. But there's one problem that's been nagging me lately about My Hero Academia, and that is its blatant inconsistency in quality. Now, luckily for the most part, it's a really good show and I can't recommend it enough. But I do want to talk about two arcs that I picked out specifically, and also My Hero Academia's season openers. A season opener is the first episode of a brand new season we've been waiting for. It's supposed to grab the viewer's attention, it's supposed to set a tone for what the season is about. And it's the show writer's way of telling us why we should watch their season. My Hero, on the other hand, does not do these things. They do the exact opposite. If you look at the first episode of season 2, first off, it says 13.5. It doesn't even get its own episodes, it's a half episode. Secondly, look at the goddamn title, Hero Notebook? Oh, Jesus Christ, I already know where this is going. Watching it for the first time reconfirmed my concerns. It is a lazy and generic recap of season 1. At least the other ones that I'm about to mention are filler, so you have to create some type of little plot in that episode. This, like I said, this is just lazy. This is the definition of effortless. Moving on, the first episode of season 3 is also another fucking recap. At least this one is less generic and lazy as it offers us the swimming pool race thing where, Jesus Christ, half of them are not even fucking swimming? Again, another lazy recap, but at least this one had a little more effort than the last one I just mentioned. The first episode to season 4 is, again, another recap, but at least this one was slightly interesting as it introduced a new character who had a creative quirk for journalism and was trying to find a scoop for All Might. My only problem with this is this specific scene in the next episode. Jesus Christ! Now imagine if that was in the first episode of this season. Now I'm not saying that this scene wasn't impactful. I'm just simply saying that the scene's impact would have been amplified if it was in the season opener. Finally, season 5's opener. I won't say much about this episode since I'm sounding like a goddamn broken record, so I'll simply just say, my father fell asleep during this episode, and let's move on. So the first arc I'm going to talk about out of the two that I mentioned previously is the Provisional Exams arc. Now, I'll be the first to say this, I am slightly nitpicking because I don't think this is a bad arc at all. There is enjoyable moments, I think it's just more of the timing of this arc. The Provisional License Exam takes place after the All Might versus All for One fight, so I do think that is kind of hard to match, but in my opinion, I think there is reasonable criticism in this arc. The first of which is character development. Now, there is character development, but it's either a minuscule amount, like with Midoriya, Ayama, and Ida, or it's reoccurring, like with Todoroki and Yaoyorozu. I want to make something clear real quick. There's nothing wrong with adding on to existing character development as long as it's done correctly. When you have the same character development but done better in a different arc, it could just feel a tad bit repetitive. Especially if you don't have a different perspective on that pre-existing character development. The only person that got a long-lasting and interesting character development in these exams is this guy. I can completely understand you being a little kid and completely getting shit on by your idol, and now growing up to have that resentment towards Endeavor and those types of superheroes, but it is a little bit of a stretch to have this resentment towards Todoroki for one encounterment. Again, I know he only had one encounterment with Endeavor, but he was a child, and also that was his idol, so I can kind of understand that. But Todoroki's a random ass dude, like you have no ties to him. The only reason why you know him is because of his family name. So a guy like that to be rude to you in one instance and now you completely resent him permanently is just, it's just a tad bit of a stretch for me. Just a tad. Another thing I want to mention that kind of ties back to my previous point is the loss of potentially unique character development. As I said prior, the Provisional Licensing Exam takes place after the All Might versus All for One fight. And after the exams, we see Bakugo's confrontation with Deku, where his guilt for what happens to All Might finally spills over and reaches its breaking point. But how interesting would it have been if we saw Bakugo's guilt build up during the exams? You do have to be careful though, because we don't want to ruin the big reveal later on during their confrontation. But with good writing, I think this could have added more impact for Bakugo's confession. My second piece of criticism for the provisional licensing exam is the risk. I'm not a bloodthirsty maniac. I don't need life or death situations to have adequate risk. For example, the tournament arc had very unique and satisfying stakes. If you lost too early in the tournament, you risk losing exposure to all these hero companies and risk losing an opportunity with one of them. But with the exams, if you failed, you just retake them, like Bakugo and Todoroki. In fact, the hero course that Bakugo and Todoroki have to take looked far easier than the exams did. I know we only saw one session of their hero course, but it's babysitting. Oh, and don't worry, we will get to that shitty arc in a second. But compare that to the exams. You have a battle royale and a rescue situation, and then the retakes have a babysitting course. Like again, I know it's just one session, but still. You could also mention that the League of Villains did infiltrate the exams, but I never really feared for Deku's life. I was more afraid that he was gonna get sexually assaulted than anything else. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at this! Before we move on to my final arc, I do want to emphasize that I was nitpicking a little, and that even though the provisional licensing exam did drag on a little bit, it still was enjoyable in certain moments. And not to mention, we had great moments after the exam, such as the confrontation between Deku and Bakugo in the same arc. The school festival arc. Where do I even begin with this fucking awful arc? You know, not even awful. That's not even the right word to describe it. If I could choose one word to describe this arc, it'd be detached. And the reason why I would use that word is because this arc is completely detached from the entire story of My Hero Academia. When it comes to plot, comes to character development, everything. When watching this arc, it damn near, no, not even damn near. It completely felt like watching a filler. I'm talking a filler from Naruto or Naruto Shippuden. That is how bad it fucking felt watching this shit. And how did this shitty arc start after the death of Night Eye? With Bakugo and Todoroki babysitting kids for their retake on their exams. You know what's worse than babysitting children? Watching someone babysit children. Like, why would I want to do this? It was so mind-numbing. I mean, the only decent thing about this that I liked, it touched upon the doom theory of how quirks will keep evolving. And it also kind of touched on the ego of kids with quirks. That's the only thing. And I'd rather have not even watched that fucking moment to find that out. All right, I'd rather that just completely been deleted. But that's the one bright side I can find in this moment. After that, the students of UA have the school festival, and can you see why I'm saying that this feels like a filler? What does this have to do with anything that's going on? I know they wanted something more lighter after the Chiseki arc, and I'm fine with that, but can we have something with a little more character development or anything? A school festival arc, is that the... Oh my god. But oh no! Gentle Criminal is here and he's gonna destroy the whole school! Wait, what's that? Oh, I got that wrong? He wants to just sneak in and out undetected, which might cause the cancellation of the festival, and that's it? Huh. And you want me to be invested in a conflict based around that? The conflict between Midoriya and Gentle Criminal on the cancellation of a festival. Really? What's next? We're gonna fight over a goddamn piece of gum? Let's talk about Gentle Criminal for a second, because he's the only enjoyable thing in this arc. He is such a terrible villain that it actually borders on the realm of enjoyable for me. It's almost like that paradox of something that's so bad that it actually becomes good. Like, he's so goofy as a villain that it is just so laughable to watch him. He's doing all this, guys, for YouTube clout. In an age where jackasses will do anything for YouTube clout, we have someone who actually turns to criminal activities for fame. But in all seriousness, I actually liked what My Hero Academia tried to go for with Gentle Criminal. A more likable, relatable villain. A person who wasn't evil at first but was driven to criminal activities for one reason or another. I simply just think we could have gotten someone better than Gentle Criminal in my opinion. Gentle Criminal was a person who initially had no intentions in criminal activity but was forced to do so for one reason or another. My only problem with that is his motivations are not really relatable to me. I made jokes that he wanted to get YouTube clout, but in all seriousness, he actually wanted to live in infamy through the internet. And he was doing all of this just for that. With motivations like that, it's very difficult to relate to Gentle Criminal. And due to this, it neutralizes the impact of a relatable villain. Compare this to someone like Walter White. Initially, a good person, but due to his cancer diagnosis, he resorts to cooking meth to leave enough money for his family when he's gone. Even though he's committing a crime, with motivations like that, viewers relate to him more than someone like a Gentle Criminal. To wrap this up, I'll simply just say you could skip this entire arc other than the last 2 episodes, which is just Endeavor fighting the Nomu, and you would not miss that much. Only thing I think you could miss on the top of my head would be All Might's conversation with Endeavor about what it means to be a symbol, the short interactions with Mirio, Midoriya, and Eri, and Midoriya developing his new ranged attack, which is just him using the air pressure, which was kind of obvious because he already kind of did that back then. I guess now he just doesn't break bones, I don't know. My point of making this video is that My Hero Academia is a really good show, but with a drop of quality here and there, it could get frustrating trying to watch this show week by week. Thank you for watching this video. I apologize that this took so long to get out. I wanted to publish this days ago, but due to copyright reasons, I got blocked multiple times, even though this all falls under fair use. Crossing my fingers that the 3rd time is the charm, and if you're seeing this, then we made it, baby. Most likely this will get copyrighted, but as long as you guys can see it, that's all that matters. So thank you for watching my video. Comment below if you want any other reviews, whether that be video games, shows, anime, whatever.